Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we'll be comparing 11 different 60% mechanical keyboards, go over some of their features really quick, but I don't want this video to be too long, so I've separated all the keyboards into 3 different categories by price range. The first is budget, the second is intermediate, and the last is more expensive. So the timestamps are all down below to jump to each category and see our recommendation for each category. I hope this video is really helpful. There's a lot to talk about, so let's jump into it right now. Okay, so the first category is budget, and budget to me means $50 or less. And in this category, we have 3 different boards. The first one is the Royal Kludge RK61. It is a really nice board for the price, actually. It does have Bluetooth capabilities. You turn it on with this switch back here. And alongside that, it can also connect via wire as well with the USB-C port right in the middle there. On the back, there are no kick-up feet at all, but there are 4 rubber feet here to prevent any sliding. On the top, you notice that there are ABS double shot keycaps. And one thing about this board is that it doesn't have RGB lighting. It has blue backlight only, but you can cycle through multiple effects on the board. Alongside that, the arrow keys are really easy to access with FN in the corner here and the arrows being right next to it on the secondary layer. This makes it really easy to use the arrow keys with one hand. So that's the first one, the Royal Kludge RK61. The second option we have here is the Gaming GK61. This is a hot swappable mechanical keyboard. It is optical though, so you can't swap it with just any mechanical switch. Alongside that, it does have RGB lighting. It has different layers that you can edit. And it does have a USB-C port right here on the top left. If you look at the back, there are no kick-up feet here, so you're stuck with the angle that it gives you. And you can cycle through lighting and effects and all that. There is software that you can download online, but if you are interested in modding your keyboard, then this is a great one to pick. It's $50, but if you mod it and make it sound a lot better, it can almost compete with keyboards at a more premium price range. And the last option we have here is the Blitzwolf BW-KB1. On the back here, you do notice that it has kick-up feet, so that differentiates it from the other ones. There are about 6 rubber feet on the back, and it does have Bluetooth capabilities. You can turn it on using this slider here. A really impressive thing about this keyboard is that it can connect up to 5 devices and switch between them really easily by holding FN and then pressing Q, W, E, R, or T. It is a very clean looking, very nice design with a flush USB-C port here on the top left. And alongside this, it does have arrow keys, although it's still a 60% layout. A downside though is that the question mark, if you use that often, is in a really weird and sort of inconvenient location. So if you use that a lot, I may rethink using this mechanical keyboard. But if you plan on using this primarily for gaming, then this is a really great board. The overall look is really clean, and for the price range, it's got some of the best stabilizers that I've ever felt in this price range. And I was quite shocked when I first got it and I pressed on the spacebar. It sounds really good. So for this range, the $50 budget range, we will be recommending the Blitzwolf BW-KB1 mechanical keyboard. Although it's not hot swappable, it does come with extra features that may be really convenient for you, like kick-up feet, like Bluetooth. Also has RGB and you can cycle through the effects. But the most important part to me is that it sounds really great straight out of the box. I don't need to mod it. I don't need to do anything special. I can just plug it in and use it. The arrow keys are definitely useful, but I do find myself accidentally pressing Shift and up often instead of the question mark. The second category we have here is the $70 to $100 range, and we have 4 different boards in this category. The first one here is the Redragon Draconic K530, and this one is pretty nice. Of course, all of them have detachable USB-C ports, so we won't be talking about that much, but it's on the left side. It has Bluetooth, you can turn it on and off right here, and it can connect to 3 different devices using a slider. Alongside that, it uses Redragon proprietary switches, comes with Redragon brown tactile switches. Although it is hot swappable and you can pull them out, you will have to replace them with Otomu or Redragon switches that fit into those sockets. It does not have PBT keycaps, which is unfortunate, but it does have very nice tactile switches, and the stabilizers feel surprisingly good for the price. There are kick-up feet on the back, but at this price point, I sort of expect there to be. The second board we have at this price range is the Kemove Shadow, or the Kemove Snowfox, which is the white counterpart. And this keyboard is a hot swappable mechanical keyboard with 3-pin hot swappable sockets. Alongside that, it has Bluetooth capabilities, can connect to up to 3 devices and switch between them easily. It's also Mac and Windows compatible, which is quite convenient, and you can switch between them with a slide toggle here on the back. It does have kick-up feet on the back here. One downside though is that it has a sort of recessed USB-C port, which means not all of your custom cables are going to fit into it. But it does have PBT keycaps, which are going to be really durable in the long run. Again, it is hot swappable, so I highly recommend you mod your stabilizers and you lube your switches. We have done all of that to this board and find it really fantastic, especially as a tool to play with different switches and experiment. Another option we have in this price range will be something out of the ordinary, and this is the Epomaker GK61 Kit. The kit itself isn't too expensive. It costs about $50-ish. But if you lay on the switches and then lay on the keycaps, the price is going to go up a little bit. But you don't need to surpass $100 if you don't want to, and that's why this one is in this range. If you look at the case, it's really nothing special. It's a plastic case, it's got 4 feet, there's no kick-up feet, there's no Bluetooth, there's none of that. It's really just a plastic case. It does have plate-mounted stabilizers, it comes with the kit, and it has a PCB that is hot swappable. It has 5-pin hot swappable sockets, which is one of the benefits about this board. If you plan on using switches that are 5-pin, then this is a really good option to experiment with some of those switches, such as Novelty Creams and Gateron Ink Blacks and things like that. Those might be more expensive switches, but on a really affordable case like this, it's pretty easy to experiment with them. Also, if you're going to mod the stabilizers, lube the switches, highly worth it. On this right now, we have the HyperX put-in keycaps and I believe Gateron Milky Yellows. So not too special here, and we haven't lubed the stabilizers. They sound terrible. They sound absolutely terrible if you don't mod the board. So keep that in mind. And then the last board we have at this price range is the Epomaker SK61. This board is optical and it has hot swappable switches, so you can mod it if you want. However, a lot of features on this board is really not impressive. It has a pretty simple design, plastic case, 4 rubber feet, no kickstands, no Bluetooth. And on top of that, it has PBT die-sub keycaps. That would be really great, except they are a uniform profile and they just don't feel the best. They're not the easiest to get used to if you've never used a uniform profile before. The optical switches though can be pretty cool. There's a wide range of them and they feel much smoother than mechanical switches, and you can also lube them. If you take them out of the case, you can spray lube them really quick, really easy, or you can brush lube, your choice, as long as you don't do it in the case, because then you're gonna break the PCB and render your keyboard useless. It is pre-lubed, the stabilizers are pre-lubed, however they're done quite messily and there's just globs of lube everywhere. I highly recommend you clean that up, do it again. But the optical switches can sound pretty interesting, so if you want really fast response time and you really care about that in gaming, that's a good option. All right, so in this price range, the winner would be, it's sort of hard to pick actually. If you want something that's a little bit more custom, where you can pick out the switches and pick out the keycaps, then we're gonna go with the GK61 kit right here. It's a really affordable kit. You can experiment with different switches, keycaps, whatever. But if you want to experiment with different switches and keycaps, then another good option is the Kemove Shadow. It already comes with PBT keycaps, and you can access the arrow keys on a secondary layer with just one hand instead of having to use two different hands. I would go for this one before I would go for the kit. It just has more features. It has Bluetooth, it has kick-up feet. Although it has 3-pin hot swappable sockets, I don't really mind clipping off the legs and putting them in here anyways. But if you want a completely just good option straight out of the box, and you're not going to mod anything, then I would go for the Redragon Draconic 530. It's the more affordable option out of all these boards, but it looks really good out of the box, and you don't really need to mod anything here to make it better, although that's still an option. And then the last price range, which is $100 and up, I would say all these boards here were around $120 when we got them. The first here is the Durgod Venus. It stands out a bunch from all these boards actually, because it has an aluminum metal frame here and it's super sturdy, but some downsides. It has LED indicators here, which means it has an additional forehead space here that's totally unnecessary. It has a really recessed port in the back here, which means probably your custom cable is not going to fit into there. And on the back, there are no kick-up feet. But if none of those things matter to you, then the stabilizers on this board are absolutely fantastic. The switches feel fantastic. They have Cherry MX switches, and it's overall a very good board. It's got PBT keycaps, it's got RGB lighting, the software is really easy to use. It's sort of simple, sort of no frills really, but just been a really amazing experience. And then the next one we have is the Ducky One 2 Mini. I'm sure all of you have heard of this board. This one comes with a custom space bar here, and it shines RGB through really nicely. You also get some different colored keycaps here in a random assortment. We happen to get blue, and it does have kick-up feet. There are two kick-up feet here with 2 angles each, and the rubber feet here are quite nice and tall. This board has a very unique two-tone look to it with the black and white. Overall, the aesthetics of this board is just really amazing, and they do come with Cherry MX switches as well. The stabilizers are not as good as the Durgod, but they're pretty decent. Some of the most important things about this board though is that the firmware on the board itself is really strong. There's no software, but you can do macro recording, you can do perky RGB programming right on the board itself. You really have to read the manual on this one because the process can get a little bit complicated, but really good board. And then the last one we have here is the Razer Huntsman Mini in black. And we do have this with the clicky optical purple switches, so I'll try not to press them. They're a little loud. We do have 2 kick-up feet here on the back with 2 angles each and 4 rubber feet as well. We have this USB-C port here on the top left, and it does have a floating keycap style design. The stabilizers here are okay. They're quite different because they are Razer's proprietary optical switches, and they're really different. They look very different. Each one has its own stabilizer bar. They can get quite rattly and quite loud. However, Razer really did good with this because it has a standard bottom row now. It has PBT double shot keycaps, and the stabilizers have improved from their Razer Huntsman TE. So some really good things are happening here. However, if you do go for this one, I recommend going for the silent linear optical red switches rather than the purple, unless clicky is your thing. The software is pretty strong. As you know, Razer Synapse can be a little bit difficult to use, but if you used it before, it's not that bad. Alright, so at this price range, there are a lot of different things going on. If you care about the response time and you're really good at gaming and you're buying this keyboard specifically for gaming, then the Razer Huntsman Mini is going to be your option. However, if you're just wanting a 60% keyboard to do some gaming, do mostly typing, and you want something that's going to last a long time, then I'm going to recommend the Durgod Venus. Although it has no adjustable kickstand in the back there, the angle that it has is pretty decent itself, and the case in the front is quite low. It's just an amazing experience. Although it's simple, it does have RGB lighting, it has easy to use software, but it does have amazing stabilizers, and you'll see at the end here when we do sound tests of each board about 15 to 20 seconds each that it sounds like a really good board. If you don't plan on downloading any software and you want really special RGB lights, then the Ducky One 2 Mini is going to be your choice here. Honestly, this price range, there's so many good features going on between board to board that it's hard to make a one-size-fits-all recommendation. With the lower end boards, that decision is a lot easier to make. And of course, if you don't want to buy any of these pre-built boards or mod them or anything, you can always get your own custom 60% and make it yourself. We did one here recently, I'll link it here, but it was about $200, which is way more expensive than all the boards here. And I would say the Durgod Venus might even sound better. But we did lube the switches and everything, so that makes a huge difference. It's not a fair comparison, really. But just know you can always buy parts, buy a kit, make your own custom. We're gonna have links to all these keyboards down below, so check that out. And alongside that, we're gonna go over the sound tests right now. Leave a comment down below on which one you think sounds the best. We also have the GMMK Compact, which I wanted to make a special recommendation for. I have an in-depth review right here, but we don't have it now because I had to sell it during our cross-country move, and unfortunately that's gone. But that is a really good board to consider as well. It's very high quality. It has a top mount aluminum plate at the top. It has 3-pin hot swappable switches. You can mod the stabilizers. It does come with foam in the case, and it also has weights to make it feel even more sturdy. It does come in a bare bones kit or a pre-built board with their brown switches. So a lot of different options going on here. A lot of different options for you to choose from. I know it's super overwhelming, but I hope this video was helpful. On to the typing test. Alright, those were all the typing sounds. I know there was a lot to go through. I know this was very rushed, but there's a playlist here on all of the in-depth reviews of each board here. And if that doesn't exist already, then we're on the process of making those in-depth reviews before 2020 ends. Hopefully this video was helpful to you and sort of gave you some insight on the different features and what changes between the price points when it comes to a 60% mechanical keyboard. I got a lot of boxes to put these boards back in. Hope this video was really helpful for you. We also have in-depth reviews on our website at switchandclick.com on all of these boards if you're interested in reading about them instead of watching. Thank you so much for watching. Press that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already for more in-depth reviews in the future and videos like this one. I'll see you in the next one.